Deal breakers are non-negotiable. That might sound very obvious, but it hasn't been something that I have stuck to. It hasn't been something that I see enough people really live by. And I am making a promise to myself that I am going to be very aware of my deal breakers in all types of relationships. And they are not up for negotiation. Before I get into this topic, am I wearing the same earrings in both earlobes? Because in my last video, I realized I was wearing one silver earring and one gold earring. It was not purposeful. It was totally by accident. I didn't know until the video was over. Nobody told me. Thank you for not telling me. I would have been very embarrassed if somebody brought it up. I like to do those things intentionally, but not just out of complete stupidity. But yeah, I think I'm wearing the same earrings today. Good start. Off to a good start. If your non-negotiable is that you don't want to listen to YouTubers that wear different earrings or make those kind of silly mistakes, you should not be here. But if that doesn't bother you, if that's something that is not a deal breaker, welcome. So the reason that this topic came up for me more recently is that I've been meeting people that have really tested my boundaries lately. Not just romantic, potentially romantic interests, like I'm more into men as far as like romantic interest, but even friendships, family, neighbors, acquaintances, anybody. Like I have really been tested recently about my boundaries, and I'm ashamed to say that in the past I have not upheld my boundaries, and I also kind of was wishy-washy about my deal breakers. But you know what? Deal breakers are deal breakers because they are not to be negotiated about. They are not supposed to be wishy-washy. And the first person that needs to make them very clear is me. We need to make them clear not to other people, but to ourselves. And I realized I was not clear on my boundaries or my deal breakers because I had my own insecurities. I felt like maybe I should be more lenient if the person was a family member, or if the person seemed to be really giving to me, like really nice and accommodating. So then I thought, oh, I owe them something. Or if the person was very attractive and I just became blindsided to like, oh, I really like this person and I'm so attracted to this person, and I started letting things go that actually I should never have let go of. And the thing is that when I am unclear myself, all of those deal breakers can become so unclear for the other person and myself that I can lose myself. The irony of all of this is that very recently somebody told me I am lost. He literally told me I am lost because I consider myself spiritual. I grew up in a religion and a community and a culture that has a particular faith, and I'm very proud of the values that I learned from that, but I also don't stick by those things because they don't all resonate with me, and I take bits and pieces of that and bits and pieces of other parts of my life and bits and pieces of divinity and spirituality that I have found myself and have brought them together to form my own sense of spirituality. Because he wanted to know the specifics of how I go about doing this, what my practice is, why I don't stick with what I was born into, which was not even my choice. he said that I am lost. And I said, I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you an explanation on how I go about. I'm probably more spiritual than you are. It's not a competition, but I know how spirit driven and spirit connected I am. And I don't need to explain it to someone. The reason this meant so much to me was because I thought this person respected me. I thought that, I had a liking towards this person. And for him to tell me that, that was a deal breaker. If someone is not respectful, they don't have to have the same spiritual beliefs as me. They don't have to even completely understand it. But if they don't respect that those are my beliefs and he's telling me that I'm lost, done. Done, done, done. Let's add to that. I said that I am more attracted to men, but I don't have any issue with people that are I don't know all the proper terminology, so excuse me if I'm saying things incorrectly, but if you are into something that is not a heterosexual relationship, I'm so for it. Like, if you're not hurting someone and because that's not even a choice. It's just the way people were brought into this world. Like, if someone is gay or lesbian or is into the same sex or whatever, I don't believe that it's because, according to this person, that it's because their parents raised them incorrectly or that they need to change their ways. I mean, I have known people in my life who have either considered suicide, died by suicide, have been terrified that they were going to be beaten up because of their sexual orientation and because their parents told them that they would never accept that. They could feel their parents' animosity towards same-sex people that are into the same sex and how ashamed they were or angry or even violent they were towards people that loved someone of the same sex. I am not that person. I am not the I wanted to say that to this person, if you meet a child especially, but anybody that is torn apart because of their sexuality, because they're not accepted in a community or by their parents or family, please send them to me. Please don't tell them that they need to change. Please don't tell them that they are unlovable. Please don't tell them that they are lost. Just send them to me. I promise you, I will be so accepting of them and make sure that they know that they are completely loved for exactly who they are, as well as who they love. It's not even like that's a deal breaker for me. If I cannot be with a partner who is homophobic, again, I don't know if those are the correct words. In this day and age, I'm behind on that, but I cannot be with a person that judges people according to their sexuality and claims that they are wrong for being that sexuality if it's not heterosexual, if it's not straight. Yeah, that's the second deal breaker. So my other deal breaker is racism. I can say that there are people in my family and around me in my culture growing up, maybe even their views have changed after all these years, but there have been in the past people that I would consider are kind of prejudiced or racist. I experienced that dating my very first boyfriend. People were not accepting of it because he was not of my culture or race. And it was very saddening for me. And I can't choose some of those people, like family, friends, whatever. I can't choose. I'm not going to tell them how to think. But I am definitely not going to choose that person as a partner. Crazy enough, that first relationship of mine, he was the person that I can think of the most that would befriend anyone that was going through this kind of judgment. Like if someone was being treated really negatively because of their race or culture, if someone was being made fun of or ridiculed because of their sexuality, this person that I was with, my very first relationship, he would have been the first person to stand up for that person. And I keep that with me forever. I cannot tell him this now, but I'm hoping he can hear me. He passed away not very long ago, and his lesson to me will stick with me forever. And he was one of the most encouraging of this YouTube channel. So I'm here partly because of him, because his really kind comments kept me going and made me feel like I was saying something important and worthy. And so thank you. You know who you are in spirit. Hopefully you can feel me. Yeah, but my deal breaker in relationships, I cannot be with someone who's racist. If I have people around me that have those kind of thoughts, they are not someone that I've chosen to be together with. Yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. Violence of any kind or abuse, deal breaker, deal breaker, deal breaker. And the thing is that I can see and understand why people stay in abusive relationships, or why people succumb to like, oh, but that person went through this in their life, so that's why they feel this way about this culture or this ethnicity, or this is why they get violent or abusive or whatever. No. I can see why you can start thinking that way, because you think you love this person, but that's like really unhealthy, toxic relationships. I've seen people in my life go through that. I have found myself believing that I could change someone to not be so harsh or aggressive, or, if they are loved enough. And that does not work. If any of you have been there, it does not work. It's not a thing that you can change in someone. It's like, yeah. So if, for me, those things are deal breakers. I cannot be in those kind of relationships, because I know that it just means that I am completely going to have to let go of my values and say, yeah, you're right, and it's okay for you to be that way. And the biggest part is that I cannot be who I am with the values that I am and be connected to someone who has values against me and feel like I'm allowed to be myself. I would feel very ashamed to be that way. So yeah, that's another deal breaker. I think boundaries are really interesting, because we can think. In the beginning of my video, I said if someone is really nice, so I really like Matthew Hussey. He's a relationship coach. That makes me think of something else, so I'll come to in a second. But Matthew Hussey is a relationship coach, a dating and relationship coach. And he talks about this thing called like when you have opposite qualities, or not opposite, but like very unique combination of qualities. So maybe someone has, maybe they're very musical and creative, but they are also very structured and have good like scheduling. And those kind of combinations are really unique, and they can be really attractive. I forget the name of what he calls this, but he says, there's something like unique pairings. I think they're called unique pairings. And that makes you really, really want to be with that person and not be able to forget them, because it's hard to find that unique pairing combination in everyone. But I think that there's also like a unique pairing that can be very, very toxic. And what I mean by that is that I have had people recently in my life, not even romantic relationships, like people that are, a female that has come into my life, or a friend or an acquaintance or whatever, that has been super nice to me and really giving and wanting to be there to help me. But on the flip side, they might be racist against a certain culture, or they might completely ignore my boundaries and want to get into my space too much and not listen to when I say like that I'm not comfortable with that. Not even physically, I just mean like, not respecting your time and your day-to-day life kind of thing. And that type of unique pairing can totally mess with my mind, maybe yours too, because you start thinking, oh, I can let go of that boundary because, like yesterday, that person was so good to me. Like they gave me this and they helped me with this. And how can I judge them for having those prejudices, or for, that the way they treated this person or whatever? But no, we have to sit back and say, what, like, you have to think about your non-negotiables before you go out into the world. I mean, going out to the world teaches you your non-negotiables as well. But when I meet someone that's super nice or super helpful or does something kind for children, but then is really racist against a culture, or I find out that they're abusive against their partner, that's a unique pairing that I don't want to have anything to do with. And I need to remind myself that that does not mean that I let go of my boundaries. That actually means that I just acknowledge that sometimes we have very contrasting qualities about ourselves. But if my deal breaker is one of their qualities, it doesn't matter how nice they are on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. If on Wednesday, Saturday, and Monday they are abusive or racist, or think that people that are not heterosexual don't deserve to be here, like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. So yeah, the reason I said I want to come back to when I mentioned Matthew Hussey, he's a dating and relationship coach. The other thing was that the person who criticized me for my spiritual, the way I go about my spirituality, or that I don't have a specific religion to explain exactly what it is that I do every day for my religious beliefs or whatever, also said that it's laughable that I listen to dating and relationship coaches. Like, as if he thinks you can get all the information on your own, and it's silly to be listening to other people talk about sex, or talk about how to connect with another person, or there's some really fun games out there on how to like keep your love alive between partners. And I was sharing something about that with him, and he thought it was ridiculous. And so those kind of things are deal breakers to me, because he doesn't have to have the same beliefs. He doesn't have to watch the same channels. He doesn't have to have any connection or interest in listening to Matthew Hussey or other amazing dating and relationship coaches. But to make fun of that being something that's important to me, deal breaker, complete deal breaker, as well as making fun of things that I'm passionate about and I love doing, like telling me, why do you write so much? Why do you waste your time writing? Like, it's so boring and you're missing out on life. And it's like, well, I told this person that he knows how important writing is to me. He knows that I love Shakespeare and I love English literature, and it's a big reason I went into teaching. And he told me those things are boring. Shakespeare is boring. He doesn't know anything about Shakespeare. He BS's a lot about things like that. And yeah, it's a deal breaker for me. I am not going to spend my time around someone that makes fun of things that I'm passionate about, because guess what? I have never done that to that person. If he is really passionate about something, I will, even if I don't know anything about it, I'm like, oh, I thought, you're an interesting person. I want to ask you about it because I want to show you that I'm respectful of the things that you enjoy in your life. But if I don't get that back, it's a deal breaker. So think about your deal breakers before you go out into the big, I'm not going to say big, bad world, into the big, beautiful world. Think about your deal breakers when you go out into the big, beautiful world, and make sure that you know them very strongly and they are not negotiable. So if you come across someone that has the qualities that are of the deal breaker status, you don't have to tell them off or say, you don't have to get into a fight with them, but you can step back and say, this is not the kind of person I want to be around. And the amazing thing is that when you know your deal breakers, you know exactly what you do want. And when the people have the qualities that are the opposite of the deal breakers, oh my God, they're just so, so attractive and they got me so excited. And yeah, makes life really fun and juicy. And I can't wait to meet the people with the qualities that are of what could be our word for the opposite of deal breakers. Let's think about that. Let me know what you want to call it. I would love to hear from you, and I will talk to you very soon.